Alrighty, good morning. It's Monday. Good to be back. Hey VXP, how you doing? Hey JMB, hey BL, hey Bjorn, hey Jamil, how you doing? G'day Jordan, hey Diana. Thanks for that VXP. Become a regular, you know the drill. Good stuff. Good to see all of you back here on Monday morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Glad to have you all with me. If you're new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. Love to find out. Hey Ben, how you doing? Right, if you have any questions at any point in time, put it into the chat, let me know. The link is there as well for the Discord channel. If you haven't already, do make sure you join the Discord channel. It's going to be super useful. You can trade together with us. All right, with that quick risk disclaimer, this live market analysis is sponsored by Max Global Markets, a brokerage firm that is registered with and regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS. Max Global Markets has no control over or influence over the content of this analysis, which is generated by an independent party. Please remember that the information in this analysis is offered solely for educational and informational reasons and does not constitute financial advice. All right, with that said, let's get that out of the way. And hey, Pips Apprentice, how are you doing? So, anyone had a good trade last week? Right, since the last time we spoke, anyone had a good trade? Any particular trade setups that you saw, let me know. For me, I did not get into any trades yet on Friday after our session. I was just looking at the markets. The dollar index retraced at this point. It retraced from that 61.8 level back down. So to me, I was just off. I had an earlier weekend, start of the weekend from there, did other work. So I didn't do anything, and it was really choppy on the dollar index, which we saw across the other currency pairs as well. So if you did get into any trades, do put it into the chat and let me know. All right. And in the meantime, if you can help me out, do click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. All right. Do help me out there on YouTube and on TradingView. Do help me click that like and subscribe button, and you can check out Max Global Markets with the QR code there at the corner. You can scan that to test out their systems as well. Okay. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey Goju. BL haven't been trading since the Middle East crisis. Okay, a little bit overextended to not trade since the Middle East crisis. I think there are still many good opportunities. So there are still opportunities to trade, just to adjust your approach a little bit. Jamil, last week I take good profits, very nice. Ayakami did gold on Friday, worked out nicely, fantastic, good to know. All right, so anyone else, put it into the chat and let me know as well. Okay, so what happened since the last time we spoke? Friday, we had Chair Powell speaking at the Economic Forum or Economic Club in New York. We saw that, we spoke about that already. We saw the retail sales number for the UK come out a little bit worse than expected, definitely worse than previous. We spoke about that already. And nothing much else. We did have the retail sales number for the Canadians, which came out pretty much as expected for retail sales. But for core retail sales at 0.1 compared to an expectation of minus 0.1. So, that led to the idea, or led to the way the price moved, where we actually saw, zooming in a little bit, right, on Friday at 4, failed to break above 61.8, so it did not go higher, but it did turn back down. We saw a lot of choppy price action at 8 and especially at 10 towards the end of the week, right? So a little bit of a profit taking, I would say. That's why we saw the retracement. No big news, stimulus, nothing, no data release, no statements from many key figures. and that's why we see price pretty much sitting along that 106.20 level. Okay, so it didn't do too much. Early this morning, the dollar index pushed slightly to the upside. I was actually thinking at that point, at about 1 or 2 o'clock, I was planning this session and I was just thinking, right, is the dollar going to slowly push to the upside? Are we going to be talking again about it breaking that 61.8 level to continue higher? But at 2 o'clock, as it was trying to push up a little bit, it retraced right now again at 3, looking like it might be trying another leg to the upside. We'll see what we can figure out from there. Okay, so that's what's happening on the dollar index at this point in time. Now, looking at the news, nothing much for today, right? Nothing much for today. The New Zealand Kiwis are on a bank holiday in observance of Labor Day. So happy Labor Day to all our viewers in New Zealand. And then at 7 p.m. GMT plus 8, we have the German BUBA monthly report, not something I pay attention to, together with the consumer confidence number for the Eurozone at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8. Again, not something I pay attention to at this point. So, and it looks like it's going to stay at minus 18, so not too concerned. The thing to look out for moving forward is the claimant count change for the UK tomorrow, and a whole bunch of PMI numbers to come from the Eurozone, the UK, and the US. The services PMI and the manufacturing PMI data to be released tomorrow. I don't think these will be big price movers, but we will talk more about this tomorrow during our session at 3 p.m. Okay. Hey Desiree, how are you doing? President Lagarde from ECB is speaking at a pre-recorded video at a hearing of Women in Finance and Economics before the European Parliament. Don't think it's going to be a policy event. And then through to Wednesday, where we have the CPI for the Aussies, we have the BOC rate decision, and then on to Thursday, where we have the ECB with their rate decision as well. Okay, so it looks like today is going to be a little bit quiet. It looks like today is going to be a bit of a possible consolidation day. It looks like it might be, might see some breakout, but most likely going to consolidate a little bit with choppy price action. We're going to see it develop onto Tuesday, but we're going to see the main action come in on Wednesday and on Thursday, and on Friday with the US core PCE price index as well. Okay, so if you haven't entered much trades like myself since Friday, then don't feel like you have to rush into it. Don't feel like you have to force any trades. There will be opportunities coming ahead. I'm pretty sure of that. And I'm actually looking, that's actually distracting me a little bit. The US yen coming close to that 150 level is distracting me a little bit there. So I'm just keeping an eye on that. Okay. So now with the dollar index rising for this hour at that 106.30 level, stretch this out a little bit, right, at that 106.30 level, we spoke about this last week, and we can see that the dollar index has been in that range, right, between 106 and 106.70. And you notice that again, that because there is no major news for either on the US, and we haven't seen any further developments in the Middle East conflict, or no major developments in the Middle East conflict, I think that this is going to still remain within this range. I'll be looking for this to trade up. But I don't see a big reason why it should push from 106.30 to 106.70. Okay, so what I'm looking at is these points there. So 106.30, 106.40. It still needs to break above 106.40 to test the resistance of 106.70. Alright, so it needs to break above this point to test this. The bigger question is whether it's going to be resisted and turn back down. And I actually think that it might actually do this. I think it might do that. Let me see. That's what I actually see happening. Because there's no major news. And we see that happening. So that's consolidating along this level. Okay, I would say that in fact, dollar index will likely continue to range between this. I'll say that it could actually be, I'm undecided whether it's going to do that or whether it's going to break above 106 and go to the upside. Because there's no major news as well. Tested. I think that's more likely the case. I'll be looking out for that scenario instead. So I'll be looking for a continue within the range. Could reject 106.40 to turn down to 106. Okay, so I'm looking at that. Diana says, seems dollar index will drop to the fair value area, which is around there. Yeah, I think so. That's why it looks like, I don't even think it'll come as high. I think it might do that just before and turn back down. And I think that's going to hold it. So I think it's going to come back down to this area. Okay, so I'll have that view. 23rd of October. Likely to remain within this range, but it's likely to come down to this 106 level, maybe even slightly beyond towards 105.90. But that might be a tomorrow thing. I don't think it'll move today. So I would say 106. Okay. Can be going even lower. So I think what Diana is saying is that it could even break down to that point. About that part there. I don't see it coming down past that 105.70 level or this area here. Okay, lowest I think, the way I look at it, is 105.80, but I think it could come down to 106 and pause there for today. Good morning, Matic. How are you doing? Right. Ultimately, it's because of a lack of news that's holding that back. So I think it's going to come down and test this level, maybe lower, but most likely towards 106. So we're looking at that dollar weakness scenario, right? We're looking at the dollar weakness scenario. So now the Kiwi dollar, right? Look at that level, holding very strong at that point. And this is odd, is because as much as we are looking at that dollar weakness scenario, I don't see an upside on the Kiwi dollar. I don't see it pushing back up and you can see that with the way it's been trending down, it looks like it just needs to break that to head down, and that's at 0.58. Right, so we have 5810 right there. It could come down, bounce, and come back up. But we're seeing this push to the downside. So I'll maintain this view. If I took it at 0.58, my stop loss will be 20 pips, just above that point. My take profit will be about 50 pips to the downside. Right, I'll still maintain this view for the Kiwi dollar just because it's been testing this point, trying, and the pressure is to the downside. So that's what I'll be looking out for is 0.58, stop loss of 20 pips, take profit of 50 pips to the downside for the Kiwi dollar. Alright, so I'm looking out for. So we're looking for it to drop that 20, break that support, drop at 20, we can sell it down. Then for the Aussie I would be considering, so you can see that holding right across. I will consider this for the dollar weakness scenario. Right, 61.8 was there, so it held. I'm looking at the Aussie and I'm thinking whether it could do this back up. Right, whether it could do that and bounce back up. So I'll be looking at the Aussie for a bounce off the support level, 0.63. Stop loss 20 pips, take profit could go up to 50, 60 pips to the upside. 60 pips is up there. Bounce off, yes, we've seen it bounce off this level once already. We've seen it bounce off this level twice already. So I'm looking for that to test and bounce off. That's what I'll be looking for. So for the Aussie dollar, I'll be looking for it to test and reject support. Then we're looking to buy at 0.63, stop loss of 20, take profit of 60. Take profit of 60 pips. There we go. Right, Kiwi dollar looks like it's forming up nicely. I think that would be quite interesting. So now, I'll cover both bases of whether it's going to push up or turn back down again. This is the dollar strength scenario. This is the dollar weakness scenario. And then onto the US yen is doing exactly as we expected, somewhat exactly as we expected. So you look at that, right, it's bouncing around this level, still looking for it to break above that 150 level before turning back down. I've seen so many analysis of what everyone else is writing. I've seen pretty much everyone's talking, search it online and you see that people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, and everywhere sharing their view that once it gets to 150, it's in that intervention zone. The question is not whether, it's time to sell. The question is the US yen going to intervene, or is the BOJ going to intervene at 150? Right? Is it going to intervene at 150, or is it going to intervene at 151? Or is it going to intervene at 152? Right? It's not a question of whether they're going to intervene or not. is at which point? 152 at that point there, or 151 at that point there. It's easy. It's easy to sit there and say, yep, most likely BOJ going to intervene, but it's at which level? If I scroll back to what happened last year, right? Let me find an easy way to show that. Last year, we were at this point, at 150. So they had several trial interventions. They came to 150. We saw that big push, but it came as high as 151.95, right? Very close to 152. That's why the question is that in this area between 150 and 152 or 151.90, like Chris is saying, right, comes that decision of within that range, where are they going to step in, where are they going to intervene? Okay, so coming back to the current again, and you see that Chris put a good point. It would be a double top. It would be a massive 2-year double top at 151.90. We have that poised. We have that poised for if they intervene at 150, but we could hunt some shorts before drop, so be careful before 31. Yeah, yep. Right, so I'll move that right across to the side, you know, and what we're looking at this point is that what's going to happen, right? Between 150 to 152, you know, if I polled everyone watching on YouTube, if I polled everyone watching on TradingView, if I polled everyone who's trading, I'm sure there will be 1,001 different price levels all the way up, right? Everyone is, you know, gambling on where they would sell, on where the BOJ would intervene. And what's going to happen is you're going to see it pop up to 150, you're going to see it come back down. A stop hunt, right? You're going to see it pop back up again, and then you're going to see it come back down. You're going to see that happen pretty much right across the board, right? Right across, maybe towards 150, 152, right? You're going to see that pop up, because we're going to see it come up, hit a couple of sell orders, or see a lot of sell orders, spike down. They might close it out, or it might hit a stop loss level and then push back up again, and then catch more levels and come back down again. So just be super careful at this point on the US yen. What I would be looking out for, I would still be looking to sell at 149.85 at this point, right? Because it hasn't broken 150 yet. But something to consider, okay, you see the dollar index pushing back down now, that's why this is holding, is maybe the US yen is not going to do too much. You know, we were saying that it's going to zigzag along this range, right? I would probably be looking for the dollar in the near future, not today, but in the near future, where it comes up, is that it might just come down here and bounce back up again. And if it does that, then we're going to see the dollar yen push to the upside. All right, you can still be looking for some buying opportunities. 150.10. Just before that, okay, I wouldn't, not at this point. I wouldn't tell you to look for buy opportunities at this point, because it does need to clear above that level first, 150.15, before we start thinking of potential buying opportunities. So at this point, I'll stick with the initial view where it might just pop up, test, and then have a big retrace back down. Okay, not ready to be buying on the yen to the upside. I think it's maybe later on, as it breaks the level strongly, we could see it continue up towards 152. You can buy it all the way up and then after look to sell it all the way back down, but I think it's a little bit premature at this point. So I'll keep it there, that the US yen needs to break above 150 and retrace based on intervention. Then we would look to sell at 149.85 with a stop loss of 30 and a take profit of 150. For such a move, I think it'd be worth the wait. So be extra patient there for the US yen. Okay, so it didn't even test 146 or 106.40, right? Looks like it's reversing back down towards 106 now on the dollar index. Kiwi dollar holding that support. Aussie dollar looking like it might push up a little bit. US yen is going to zigzag along that triangle, along that trend line. Pound dollar. Right, pound dollar, we were looking at this. It did not break that level to the downside. Take that away. Now pushing back up. Right, so this, if you got onto this view, this was a double bottom that we were looking at. Right, we were looking at the double bottom as it pushed up right now at that 1.2165 level. At 1.2165, that double bottom is forming up. I would say that a safer view of this would be to only look to buy if it breaks above Friday's high. All right, if it breaks above Friday's high, now looking at the dollar index dropping to the downside, then you could be looking at 1.2180. Take profit, good 35 to the upside, stop loss very tight, no more than 20 pips. Right, and this will be, I would like to say that you can trade it all the way up. In fact, you could. It's a 90 pip move to the upside. Let's have a look at this. $50, just above 50 there. Yeah, Jamil, it's a MES brokerage out. 50% right there. So that area forms up quite nicely. $50 on that move doesn't seem to work. Okay, I'll keep that there. So you can look at that. Right, with a bit of a hesitation level there. So that's what I'll be looking out for on the pound dollar, is that if it breaks above the previous high, the Friday high, 1.2180, about a 20 pip stop loss, a 90 pip take profit with a hesitation at about 1.2220. Okay, there we go. So we're looking for the pound to buy at 1.2180, stop loss 20, take profit 90 with a hesitation at 1.2220. There we go. Right, dollar index not exactly showing that quick move to the downside either, so just be careful of that. And that's why I wanted to break above that Friday high. If it does turn down, I'm not looking to sell it down, not a lot of space towards that support, so I'll rather be waiting it out. Okay, you can see your support level is right there at 1.21. So if you're looking to sell down from this point, you would have 40 pip at the most. Stop loss would be about 30 to 40 pips. And I would say I'll look for that move instead. Okay. Yep. Then onto the euro. Look at that. We have that downward trend line. We have that upward trend line. On Friday, I think we drew this horizontal equal low that we've been seeing, and it's respected all the lines. It has respected all the lines. Did not break to the downside, so we'll take that one away. Right? It went up. It tested that trend line. It came back down almost to this bottom horizontal equal low here before now pushing back up. So what I would be looking out for here on the euro will still be the same level, right? 1.06. Give it a bit more. I would say 1.0605. 1.0605. This will be a short-term trade. 35 pips to the upside. Stop loss no more than 15 pips. I'm looking for that breakout. I'm looking for that breakout. I'm just considering whether we could take it a little bit nearer 1.05. Okay, it needs to close above 1.06. Okay, I can have that, but it needs to close above 1.06. 15 pip to 40 pip will stay the same. So euro, we're not looking to sell it down. I don't think it'll drop. We're looking to buy on stop loss 15, take profit 40, 1.06. We'll maintain that same view. Okay. Quick check, Kiwi dollar still sitting there, Aussie dollar undecided, US yen retracing, but I think, don't rush into trying to sell that. It's going to bounce around here most likely. Pound dollar pushing up a little bit, still hesitating. Euro dollar doing the same. The Swiss found a good strong bottom. Right, finding that support right across, pushing lower. Dollar index, if the dollar index continues to drop, then what we might see on the Swiss is for it to break that support. Right, is for it to break that support level of 0.89 and head lower. 8885, stop loss 20 pips, take profit 50 pips to the downside. Because of the dollar index, because of the trend line pushing it down as well, that looks like that. So we could see this reverse back down. Okay. This is turning out to be quite a short and sharp session. If you got no further questions, do let me know. If you have any further questions, do let me know. Bless you. So looking at 885, stop loss 285. I think even tighter stop loss 20 to 50 pips. I have a trader sitting with me in the office here. We've been trading together, so if you're wondering who I said bless you, who sneezed and who I said bless you to, that's the other trader. If you want to come in and sit and trade together with me, drop me a message and let me know. We'll figure something out depending on schedule, but we'll figure something out. If that's something that you want to do, let me know. Okay, that's sitting right there. Okay, then onto the US CAD, onto the Loonie. Take that away. Okay, so one thing that you'll notice here on the Loonie is that, Diana, I'll come to you. You're in Dubai. I'll come to you sooner than you expect. But I'll tell you about that shortly. Not shortly, but I'll tell you about that soon. Once I firm up some details, you'll be the first one to know, the first few to know. Okay. You can see that on Friday, core retail sales for the Canadian was at 0.1%. Retail sales was at minus 0.1. But what we actually saw on the Canadian dollar, the loonie, was on Friday, it didn't do too much. Right? It didn't do too much. We saw it spike up a little bit, we saw it come back down, but it still sat along that resistance to support level of 1.3690 in that range, right? From still this pivot level. So now still pushing to the upside. It looks like the case where dollar seems to be weakening. It should be turning down, but instead it's pushing up, right? The US CAD seems to be pushing up. I want to see what happens at this level, at 1.3740. I want to see what happens at this level, right? Because what I'm thinking is that if this is a double top, if this forms to be a double top like that, then we could see a big drop here on the US CAD. Okay, so nothing at this point. We're looking for reaction along 1.3740 for a possible double top formation. Could you buy it up if we see that dollar strength come back into play? But it seems like it's a bit unlikely at this point. That's why I'm looking at that. I don't want to drop too quickly. I want to see a double top before it retraces. That would be a lot better. So US CAD, I wouldn't do anything right now. I would say look for reaction at 1.3740. For possible double top. There we have it. Okay. Okay, are we happy with that? Then on to gold. Right, we were talking about this to test that resistance at 19. So we said, right, currently at 1980, could climb up to 1993. It's a shift towards reserve. It did that exactly. So at 1980, it went up to 1995, 1997 before, and then you see that, right? So you see that pin bar right at that 1993 level. That's why, you know, we could try and pick out finer points. We could try and pick out exact numbers, but I picked that area of 1993 because you see that it got to right to 1993, and then we saw the formation of that pin bar. Right, and when you have a formation of a pin bar right at a major resistance level, there we have it. What happens next? You know, indecision, all right, inability to cross above that point to trade higher. We see a big push back down from 1993 down towards that 1965 level. Hey Ben, yeah, just reach out, let me know, we'll figure something out. Okay, so it came right back down to that 1965 level, and then from that point now pushing back up again. Now approaching that 1980 level again, right? It's back to what we spoke about on Friday at 1980. Can it push up higher? I think that retrace was very healthy for that overall trend to the upside. Very healthy for that overall trend to the upside. So at 1980, I would say that it can get back to 1996. Right, 1996, but let's check some levels again. Right, needs to break above that 50%, so 1981. So above 1981, I say that it could get to 1996. So gold needs to break 1981 to climb to 1996. It puts me off when I'm talking about 1981 and 1996. I feel I'm talking about years, but that's the price level. Right, those are price levels that we're talking about. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay. Very quickly today, we've gone through the list, but mainly because there's no major news happening for today all the way through to maybe middle and later into the week. I'll tell you more about the PMIs tomorrow. One thing that I want to look at, or one thing that has been happening or catching a bit of attention, is how Bitcoin went from pretty much on Monday, today, was at 29,750 and had that steady climb up beyond 30,000 all the way to almost 31,000, and it's sitting right there. Okay, and if I zoom right out, you see this is pretty much a continuation. It was in that consolidation along that 27,000 level. We saw a breakout. This was when this shot out from 28,000 straight up to 30,000. There was a question in the market, wondering whether this is a pump and dump. Right, there was a question wondering this is a pump and dump, but we saw it retrace back, and if you look at the Bollinger as well, it stayed within that range. Remember, I was telling you about Bollingers where I would have one standard as well, and you see that this, as much as it shot out, it came back in and it stayed within that 1 and 2 standard Bollinger, and that's why we saw it continue to trend to the upside. Again, set in consolidation before, again being in that 1 and 2, pushing to the upside, and then now looking like it's pushing up again. So now the question to you all is, Bitcoin is currently at, oops, let me do that first. Right, it's currently beyond 30,000. It's at 30,735. Where do you think it's going to get towards? More upside or a big correction from here? Put it into the chat, let me know as I put in my lines, and I'll share with you my view. Okay, we have a key level up there at 31,821. And then at this point here. So it definitely needs to break above 31 before we could see 31,821. Okay, so just a little bit of a snapshot onto the cryptocurrencies. It looks like it might retrace briefly, not a lot, 3,500 maybe, but then it looks like it's going to continue, upside continuation is most likely. No crazy correction, feeling like more upside, to be honest. Yeah, I think so too. It looks like it's going to come back down a little bit around there. It's going to do that, and then after that, do that again. Yes, okay, we look like we're in general agreement that we're definitely looking at more upside potential. Slight retrace, slight consolidation, but definitely more upside potential. I'm actually looking into reading more and analyzing into why it's pushing up at this point and how much further it can go. So watch out for that analysis. Alrighty, so with that, dollar still sitting there, Kiwi pushing, sitting there. H1 time frame. I haven't had any trades today as well, so I'm still waiting. Aussie dollar, US yen, it's all doing the same thing. The euro dollar looks like it's pushing up a little bit more than expected. Sweezy coming back down, CAD forming that double top. It's near a SD area. I'll take a sell. Supply area. I take a sell, maybe. Very brief sell, I would say, but I think in the longer term we'll still see some upside. All right. So again, the link is there for you guys. If you haven't already, do make sure you join us on the Discord channel. Does crypto serve as a reserve? That's a tricky question there, Ayakami. So Ayakami was asking, does crypto serve as a reserve commodity or as a reserve instrument as well? Technically, it does. It's supposed to, but we're seeing it being very correlated to other pairs. So I think it does, but it's not a perfect correlation. Okay. So yeah, again, if you guys are new to the session, do make sure you join the Discord channel if you haven't already. And if you can, remember, help me out, click that like and subscribe button. That would help us massively. And I'll see you all on Discord. If not, then I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And we'll talk about the PMIs tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.